You wake up a few minutes before your alarm goes off. It happens almost every day. Your body already knows the routine. For years, you followed the same schedule at the same company, chasing the same promise: security, a steady paycheck, benefits, stability. On the surface, it looks like success. You earn more than your parents ever imagined earning. Yet somehow, despite the bigger income, you feel more financially stressed than ever. That strange contradiction isn't random. It's the result of a system that quietly keeps people running in place. In the next few minutes, you'll see exactly how this happens and why so many well-paid professionals still feel broke. Think about someone like Sarah. She has what most people would call a great job. Her salary places her among the higher earners around her. Friends assume she must be doing extremely well financially. But Sarah doesn't feel wealthy at all. She receives her paycheck regularly, and before she even has time to think about it, most of that money is already spoken for. Rent takes the largest portion. Groceries and dining absorb another chunk. Then there are transportation costs, insurance, fuel, subscriptions, phone bills, utilities, and all the small recurring expenses that quietly stack up. By the time Sarah looks at what's left, the majority of her income has already disappeared into obligations. And here's the fascinating psychological part. It doesn't feel like deprivation. She has a comfortable apartment. She owns a reliable car. She can go out to eat sometimes and maintain a lifestyle that signals success. The system provides just enough comfort to stop people from questioning why their wealth never seems to grow. This is the first hidden mechanism of the salary trap, the illusion of prosperity created through fragmentation. When money arrives as one number but leaves in dozens of smaller payments, the brain never fully registers how little progress is actually being made. What you end up building is a lifestyle, not financial freedom. But the deeper issue comes next. The modern career path is structured to make people dependent on their next paycheck. From a young age, you're told the formula: study hard, get a good education, land a stable job. Sometimes that education requires taking on debt. Once you graduate, the first mission becomes paying back that investment. Eventually, you find a job that pays well, maybe even very well. And that's when the second trap quietly activates. Your lifestyle begins to expand to match your income. Economists call this lifestyle inflation. Every raise feels like a reward, but it often comes with invisible consequences. A higher salary suddenly makes a nicer apartment seem reasonable. A better car becomes affordable. Vacations become more elaborate. Small upgrades gradually turn into permanent expenses. Each improvement feels like progress, yet each one also raises the financial baseline you must maintain. Over time, your life becomes structured around needing that same level of income every single month. This is what people refer to as golden handcuffs. The salary feels impressive, but the obligations attached to it remove flexibility. Ironically, the system rarely forces these choices. It simply presents options, and human psychology does the rest. Most people interpret progress as moving upward in lifestyle rather than increasing their financial independence. So they climb higher and higher into a life that consumes almost everything they earn. In reality, the number on your paycheck doesn't determine freedom. The gap between what you earn and what you spend determines freedom. And the modern financial environment constantly pressures that gap to shrink. Consider someone like David, a professional working in technology with a strong six-figure income. From the outside, his career looked successful, but internally, he felt stuck. He often imagined leaving his job or starting something new, yet the idea immediately triggered anxiety. The reason was simple. His financial commitments were enormous. A large home payment, 2 car loans, education expenses for his children, and a long list of recurring bills meant that walking away from his paycheck felt impossible. When his company offered him a promotion and a larger salary, he felt relief. For a moment, it seemed like everything would finally become easier. But within a short period, life adjusted again. Housing costs rose, unexpected family expenses appeared, repairs and upgrades demanded attention. Soon, the financial pressure returned to the exact same level as before. The raise didn't create freedom, it simply allowed his obligations to expand alongside it. This is one of the most powerful dynamics in personal finance. Many people believe earning more money automatically solves financial stress. In reality, expenses often rise at nearly the same pace as income. That's why two people with dramatically different salaries can report similar levels of financial anxiety. When every dollar is already assigned to an expense, the size of the paycheck becomes less important than the lack of breathing room. Living paycheck to paycheck, even with a high income, creates a predictable pattern. You need the job. You can't easily take risks. Starting a business, investing aggressively on an idea, or stepping away to redesign your life feels dangerous because every dollar already belongs to someone else. Landlords, lenders, subscription services, and financial institutions all benefit from this arrangement because it turns individuals into steady streams of revenue. But the individual rarely gains the freedom they expected from their salary. Here's a simple thought experiment. Imagine you decided to stop working tomorrow. No dramatic event, you simply walked away from your job. How long could you maintain your current lifestyle without another paycheck arriving? A few months? 1 month? For many professionals, the honest answer is shockingly short. A large portion of working adults could not sustain their expenses for very long without income. That reality reveals something important. What looks like security is often just a very comfortable form of dependence. The salary trap normalizes this pattern so deeply that most people never question it. Work, earn, spend. Work harder, earn more, spend more. The cycle repeats year after year. But this pattern is not an unavoidable law of life. It's simply the default path that most people follow without examining it. The moment you recognize the difference between income and wealth, everything begins to shift. Income is what flows in while you're working. Wealth is what remains and continues to grow whether you work or not. The key is protecting the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap becomes the engine that builds assets instead of obligations. Instead of allowing every raise to upgrade your lifestyle, part of that increase can be redirected towards investments, savings, or ownership of assets that generate future income. Over time, something powerful happens. As reserves grow and investments compound, your dependence on the next paycheck slowly weakens. Even a few months of financial runway can dramatically change your psychology. You negotiate differently. You make decisions with more confidence. You gain the ability to walk away from situations that no longer align with your goals. The ultimate objective is not simply earning a larger salary. The real objective is building enough financial independence that your life is no longer controlled by the necessity of that paycheck. The salary trap is real and surprisingly sophisticated, but it is not permanent. The people who escape it are not necessarily more talented or more fortunate. They simply become aware of the pattern and begin making different choices. They recognize that comfort is not the same as freedom. And once you understand that distinction, you gain the power to reshape your financial future. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to keep learning how money systems actually work and how people build real wealth instead of just higher incomes, consider subscribing to this channel. Each video explores the psychology of money, the hidden structures that shape financial behavior, and practical ways to move closer to genuine financial independence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.